Okay, let's go.
All right, welcome to episode 2 of Mom Rules. That's real, unmuted life experiences and stories.
I'm Edith.
I'm Angel.
I'm Ray. And this episode, we're going to talk about parenting styles. Now, we know on social media and everywhere there are different types of parenting styles. And lately, we've been seeing the gentle parent. So, ladies, are you a gentle parent? Are you the authoritative parent? Are you really strict with your kids?
Let's start with you, Ray. So I would like to say that I am a disciplinarian, but I am also a gentle parent at the same time. So I think that my parenting style would be a gentle disciplinarian.
And before we go to you, Angel, I want to say this. We had this conversation before we started.
Behind the scenes.
Yes. And we were talking about, like, what really is gentle parenting. We've seen a lot of things. We've seen where you just let the kid run wild and tell you what to do. Mm-hmm. But we have gone to Google, and gentle parenting is a child-rearing approach focused on building a strong parent-child relationship through empathy, respect, and understanding.
So as a disclaimer, gentle parenting does not mean you're not parenting at all. That's the misconception that's often given when you hear the word gentle parent.
Because it emphasizes connection, clear boundaries, and guiding children to manage their emotions and behavior. Yes. It's not about letting children be in charge or avoiding all discipline, but rather about finding a balance between connection and guidance.
Correct. So Edith, go ahead and tell me, what's your parenting style?
I'm going to say I am gentle based off of this definition, meaning I like to have conversations with my children. And I don't tell them, be quiet, sit down. And I feel like in our culture, that has been something that we were kind of taught as growing up. Sit down, be quiet, don't question adults, don't say anything. I'm not like that. I like my children to have conversations, especially in the world that we're in today. I feel it's very important that I don't ever stifle their voice. I want them to ask questions. I want them to feel their intuition and knowing something's right. Now, I do tell my children there's a way to say it. Like, there is a tone that you need to have when you're asking me a question, because tone can signify for me disrespect. And so I try to work through them with that. Brad has ADHD, so he's emotional. He gets excited. Sometimes he's very impulsive. And so we try to work with him and not fuss at him. He doesn't like loud noises, Paige either. And so I try to calmly, and I don't do it all the time now, because sometimes I get caught up and I get frustrated because of my own feelings or my own anxiety or just in the moment. But I am able to tell them I'm sorry. But I do try to create boundaries with them. Even, we are moms going to the bathroom, take a shower, but just go to the bathroom. I'm like, listen, if I'm in here, you don't come in here. You know, the basic stuff. So that falls under the gentle parenting for me. I try to create boundaries. I try to have an open communication. You know, we talked about being in the know. I want them to be comfortable with coming to talk to me. And so I think that's about having a conversation, getting down. It's like, this is what happened at school. This is what I need you to do. Or you feeling upset. Let's talk about why you're upset instead of saying just outright, go to your room.
Right.
And I'm not saying I don't have those moments. I feel like those moments come probably because I need a moment. To take a break, and I'll say, it's time for you to go to your room because you're not understanding what I'm saying, and I'm frustrated, and we need a break to come back. But I try to do it the best of my ability, and yes, there are some times that I fail as a parent, but I have no problem going back to talk to them. But based off the definition, I'm the gentle parent.
With me, I would say I'm all of them. Depending on what happened, will depend on what type of style that I have. All right. If you eating chips and you drop them, then I'm more than likely going to be the gentle parent. Hey, you pick up where you was, like pick up after yourself. Which my kid don't, but if I heard you, say a cuss word, then I'm probably got to manhandle you because you shouldn't be saying that. Again, disclaimer: my kid don't cuss. All right. And same with my daughter. She's a girl, so I'm learning so many different parenting styles. What I can tell Cohen, I cannot tell Courtland. right? How you treat a boy, you cannot treat a girl in certain aspects. So like I said, it really depends on the child and the situation. Like I said, I feel that I'm also an instant parent. I like to solve the issue right then and there. Like you said earlier, sometimes you may need a break. I don't believe in like waiting. I don't want time for what I said and them not having the understanding to marinate, and have them form their own opinion about what I meant. Because even once I go back and I say, hey, that's not what I meant, at that point, they probably already formed their own understanding of what you meant. True. So I'm very instant. If I tell you something, then at that moment, we're going to hash it out right then and there. And I'm going to let you know why I said what I said. Well, how do you feel about it?
I like that.
And yet disciplinary. I've never had to be physical with my kids. But if it's not out of the question. Now, is it a situation to harm them? No. Because let's be realistic, and real and unmuted. If you don't do it and get it right, the cops gonna do it. Okay? And it's no point of saying, oh, you hit your child, I can't believe, or you spank your child. When I do it, or if I have to do it, it's out of love. Right? Something else goes on with higher authority, say a police officer, that's a different situation. So before I even allow my kids to get into that situation, I'm gonna discipline them at home and let them know what needs to be done if it comes to that where I have to do it.
So when you guys grew up, how were your parents towards you as their parenting style? Is that the right way to say it? Or what was your parents' parenting style, and has it shaped the way you parent now?
Who want to go first? I got it.
Okay.
Let me tell you something. I had a refrigerator thrown at me, right? Not literally.
I'm about to say that was strong.
Yeah, but my parents' parenting style was mainly disciplinary. And I tell my students and my kids all the time, I appreciate it. It made me who I am today. All right, my mom was a firm believer in you spare the rod, spoil the child. That was my mom and my dad's motto. But it helped me develop the backbone that I have. Right? It allowed me to be the individual. They didn't play, and they made it very known they didn't play. So I had no choice but to walk the straight and narrow. I've never been arrested. I've never got into any type of legal trouble. I went to college. All right, I graduated college twice at that. But it's not saying that just because a person didn't, that they didn't have a disciplinary in their life. It's just a different disciplinary style, right? There's two things my mama told me she'll never do with me.
What's that?
Go to jail with you and take care of no baby for you. All right? So she ain't doing that. She made that clear. Guess what? I ain't had no baby until I could help somebody can help me. I ain't went to jail. So, like I said, I'm very proud of the whippings that I got with an S. I'm very proud of it.
Because you showed this to your mom. You showed this episode to your mom.
She gonna say, I don't recall what you talking about. Because I ain't never did that. Yeah, she did. She whooped me off the bus. Lord. My friends still talk about it. She whooped me off the bus. This was going to detention, y'all. I went to detention.
But you on the person.
And she hid behind the bush. And we ain't gonna talk.
Okay, right.
But it made me who I am today. Yes. Right?
So what about you? Behind the bush, baby.
Yeah, man. Superman.
So my mom was very strict. My mom had, from my mom, I have 3 other siblings, 3 brothers. So me and 3 of my siblings have the same mom and dad. And my mom was a very strict mom, I think, because she had us so young. So my mom started having us when she was in high school, like before prom and all that other stuff. And I think that part of it was doing it by herself at a young age made her feel like she had to be super hard on us.
because maybe some of it was frustration that you got all these kids and you're so young, but also I want y'all to be better than me. I don't want to have to, go through this twice. But my grandma used to tell my mom, and my big mom used to tell my grandma, like, it just came down. They were like, you get a word and a lick. So they tell you one time, and then once you ain't get it that time, then they hit you, or something's flying, or you're gonna feel it. So we grew up knowing that, hey, whenever something is said or they tell you to get something done, you gotta move and get it done. And if you or what, or I'll get it later, it might not be no later for you, So, I think that it has translated into how I raise my kids, because I do give them grace, because I remember feeling like, okay, it don't have to be that serious. Like, maybe I forgot, I'm still a kid. Like, you can remind me without reminding me with a switch, But so I do give my kids grace, and I will constantly, if I tell them to do something before the day is over, and I notice that they've done all kinds of stuff throughout the day and haven't done what I asked them to do, then I will be like, hey, don't forget, I told you to do this before the end of the day, if you don't get it done. So I'll constantly make reminders for them. So now by the end of the day, if you didn't get it done, you just chose to, say, forget what I said.
Yeah.
So I take bits and pieces of how my mom and my dad raised us, and I put that into my boys. I think the best parts of it, I'll say. And then we have our own parenting style as well. So I combine the best parts of what they did with what I feel could have been done better or different, and tailor it to who my children are.
And I think we should do that. I think how we grew up then, because I'm older than you, so 80s, 90s, is different than what our kids are going through now. There are some things the same, but the world is different. The safety, these are COVID children. Let's be real, that was a lot on everyone. And just the access. Yeah. I didn't get a cell phone until I was sophomore in college. I mean,
I was a freshman.
So now they have it younger, and I think, and I know people talk about that, sometimes kids have phones earlier because they're coming from school. That's our perspective on it. It's like we want to be able to stay connected to them. So I think that parenting is different, but like you say, I try to take those things that I felt were very beneficial and help me be the person I am to now. Now I am the fourth of four, so I'm the baby. The oldest in me are 13 years apart, sister 10, and then 4. So, I mean, my parents were older. I was baby. So, my growing up was different than my oldest brother, because the parents were older. They were doing different things. So, I was always an independent child. And so because I was the smallest one and they're older kids, and when kids are around older kids, I think you act a little different. So I always had the independence. I always kind of did my own thing. My mother and father was a disciplinarian. I don't really recall my mother really whooping me. I remember the last whooping I got. How about that? Me and my brother would fight when we broke a picture off the wall. And that was the last whooping that we got. But we knew that if we did something really bad, and the only reason we got it is because we were told to stop fighting. Yeah. But we were roughhouse. I grew up in a house with boys and girls. We would tag you and you go. I lived in the country, so we would go outside and run around. And so we did something that we were told not to do, and then something broke. Oh, well, we already knew what was going to happen. So, but it was a talking. They did talk to us, and then you get a consequence.
I do want to say this, Mama, Daddy, I love you. Okay, I love y'all.
She's trying to
no, but I do want to say, when I say my parents were disciplinary, it's not that they just spanked the perfect child. I mean, I have my situations where it was deserving. Mm-hmm. But I can't say, their expectations has always been far exceeded when it comes to me. Yeah. I've wouldn't dare ever raise my hand at my parents. I wouldn't dare cuss, talk back. That's just not me. You know what I'm saying? So I wanted to make sure I said, hey, Mom and Daddy, you watching? You know what I'm saying?
Or in case somebody misunderstood.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? I love you, mom and daddy.
Yes, I get it.
POP, hold it down.
I'm glad that you clarified for those because we don't want anybody to miss.
Right.
So,
but I think if we think about it, you know, like what our parents did when we were growing up, like how you said you and your brother had been told not to do this, and y'all kept doing it, and then what happened after that was that something got broken.
Yeah.
And so then your parents disciplined you, but like if we think about it, like in the real world today with our kids, like, hey, this is real life. If you are doing something that we told you shouldn't do, first of all, there's a reason we told you shouldn't do it. You know, you don't want things to get broken. You don't want you to have to even pay the consequence for something happening. And that was something that could be replaced or repaired. Now, what if you go out and do something, break something, do something, you know what I'm saying, that you can't fix or repair that easily. So it's to teach you, you know, those boundaries and those lessons and how to be obedient and to, you know, like be aware of the consequences for your actions. You know what I'm saying?
And my mom would say, I'm gonna know. Tell me now. Because I'm gonna know. Yeah. And I do take that with me, and I probably tell my kids, tell me now, because I'm going to find out.
Yeah.
I'm gonna know the truth, so just go ahead and be honest. But I try to have that relationship where I'm telling them to be honest and upfront. And my mother would say that, tell me now, because I'm gonna find out.
I tell my kids, tell me now because I already know. If I'm asking you, then I
if
already know.
I'm asking you, I already know.
Real quick. Just another hashtag real unmuted moment from me. Might have one every segment. Not trying to ruffle no feathers, but some of y'all let y'all kids do any and everything. You hear me? Like y'all, they be doing too much. Okay, I'm just being real. All right.
But you're not here to judge though.
But I'm being real. And off of my observation, from things I've seen, things I've heard. I guess I'm not trying to ruffle any feathers.
But is that a cultural thing?
But the thing is, one, kids certain ages have access to too many things, right? And we, in a sense, control that access. Just recently, I had to ban YouTube from my house. Not that he was picking up anything negative, but just the things that it shows. You got kids that got unsupervised Facebook pages, unsupervised TikTok pages. They're watching any and everything on the internet. They're picking these things up, right? And they're displaying it to kids that's not even there yet, or know things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I feel that because our kids are around other kids, we also need to show our kids boundaries, right? Because a lot of things that they do, you'll hear parents say, well, I'm gonna support my child no matter what. I mean, and then you let them know that? So once you let them know that, you're sitting here condoning the ignorance that they have. And we wonder where it came from. Like, it came from you. You know what I'm saying? And again, I know parenting has changed. I get that. It's a different time. We don't want to do things the way our parents did. But let's be real. Is everything our parents did wrong? No. And a lot of us, we're just taking the one thing that they did and we're blasting it over and saying, oh, my parents didn't do this right, so I'm never going to do this. No, pick some things because it wasn't all bad. And let's be real, you wasn't all perfect. All right? So if you going to point the finger, remember when you point two fingers, you got three pointing back at you. So you did something as well that could have caused that. Now, does it make it right? No. Right? But it's a part of life, and you still allowed today to tell the story.
So we should start pulling more of those.
Yes, pull it, because you would think that was the way some of these kids running around these days, that these parents ain't had no home training.
I think it's a lot to do with age, though.
Baby,
I agree that it has a lot to do with age, and I also think that I agree with both of y'all that it has to do with age, and then it also has to do with people just not
caring.
Possibly, yeah, because even with the gentle parenting thing, some people are taking what that really means and warping it into something else. Like they will allow their child to just run wild and do whatever they want to do, and then Johnny, don't do that. Johnny, stop doing that. You know, like, and the kid, you mom, you know, like, so, and they're like saying that they're trying the gentle parenting. Like that is not what it is. You still have to be a parent. You still have to discipline your child. And I think people forget that the child you raise is a citizen in society that somebody else is going to have to deal with. That's going to be somebody's husband, somebody's boyfriend, somebody's dad, somebody, like somebody's employee, if they are even able to land a job. That the child you raise now has to be able to fit into society, not even just necessarily fit in, but be a productive member of society.
And maybe people don't think of it that way, that my job is to nurture, care, love, and help you grow into a productive person. So you can then in turn do whatever it is that you would like to do in life and be successful at it. That's how I look at it.
And even if your parent in your mindset was the worst parent in the world, let's just say from your perspective, you don't have to follow that trend and be the worst parent in the world.
True.
All right? Your child is a product of you, but we get to a certain age where our mind develops and we know right from wrong and what we have to do to, we don't have to be a product of our environment, if that makes sense, right? I see a lot of NFL and NBA players, they don't come from the perfect home, they come from broken homes, but their mindset changed along the way and they became a better individual. You know what I'm saying? And at the end of the day, I feel like when you have kids, you take on this newfound role of responsibility. And let's be real, your child is not your friend, right? It's not your little friend. It's not your homie. It's not your homegirl. All right?
This is from the teacher.
This is from just observation.
Yes.
Like I have thousands of Facebook followers and like friends, and I'm on TikTok. And again, I'm not saying you can't have a great relationship with your child. I'm not saying that you can't clown with your child, but you and your child should not be here. It should, even when joking, there should be a line of respect that you know not to cross.
Yes.
All right. And again, I feel like I'm not a perfect parent. My kids is 3 and 9, so I'm gonna make mistakes along the way. That will take place. But what I will not do is, regardless what mistakes I make, is steer them in the wrong direction. You know what I'm saying? Because my mama and daddy told me a long time ago, I want you to be better than I've ever been. You know? And that stuck with me. So you know what I tell my kids? I want you to be better than me. You know what I'm saying? But guess what? It starts with the foundation that I lay.
Yeah.
And that's where a lot of parents lack the foundation. You can give your child the world without having to physically give them the world. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of parents have that misconception that I'm just like gentle parents that give my child the world. I mean, you got to buy them everything. They got to learn no from somewhere.
Yes.
And if they don't learn it from you, how they gonna handle it when it's being told somewhere else?
When they go to work.
And the thing is, it's a trained behavior. So while you thinking you gonna just do it now and they gonna learn it later, you already setting them up for failure.
And it's so hard to. That's why I was saying that, with my boys, I try to instill as much as I can in them now while they're young, because it is so difficult. I mean, just not just from experience, but also like science and child therapists and everything, they will let you know, like, it's very difficult to try to retrain a mind for a person that has grown up, you know what I'm saying, and has been set in, like when people say, oh, they're set in their ways, that has been under one, you know what I'm saying, mindset or way of thinking for so long. So if you think, oh, I'll deal with it when they become a teenager, you're in for a crazy ride.
So let me ask you this. So talking about different perspectives, right? So we are all wives on this couch. So how is it parenting with your spouse? Do you see eye to eye, or there's some differences? Because we were all raised different, maybe raised different in different households for sure. So how, coming together, are you able to work on disciplining or your parenting styles together?
I think that with me and my husband, we generally agree on most things and how we parent. There are times when I feel like I would have done something a different way. But when we get ready to go to bed at night, I'm always like bringing it up, and we'll have a discussion about it before we go to sleep, and then that's that, and we pick up the next day and go forward. Like even last night, for example, my son was getting ready to go to bed, and we're like kissing the boys goodnight and everything. And so I went and kissed the boys, and then I went to bed, and he was like, "Oh, I've already told them goodnight." I was like, "What's going on?" And so he goes in, and I know he's trying to be facetious at the time, but he goes in, he's like,
hey, big boy, give me some love. But that's important to you.
Yeah,
yes,
yeah.
I get it. I think
because when he was smaller, he's always like daddy, daddy, daddy,
Yes.
daddy, daddy. He's
and
such
you
a
want
daddy's
to keep
boy.
that.
And as he gets older, I don't want him to feel like, well, now you're too big for your daddy to love on you. You know what I'm saying?
Because they will grow up and they may go to school and they may not want those things. I try to do that too. I push for that, especially the male bonding. I think it is important, and for even the gay girl thing. But I do those things too. I'll go in, and it was something that my son said for Christmas. Like, we're not getting that pajamas. We're not getting this. That it clicked to me. Like, they like those things.
Yeah.
When I think like it doesn't matter to them.
It absolutely
One
does.
time he came to me, I fell asleep. He was like, "You come into walk into the room," and they do it. Walk into the room, and I'm like, "Go to your room, like I'm here." You have to tuck me in. It's something that they like and they need for comfort. But when we disagree, not necessarily disagree, but we have sometimes we'll have a different approach depending on the issue. I have over the 15 years, not 15 years. I do not.
Quick thinking moment. Pause.
10, yes. I do not correct or try to disagree in front of them.
Yeah.
It's something I worked on. I may like look, but we'll have a conversation because we both did grow up differently. So it's something that we have to talk about, like, oh, I didn't like this, or he'll explain his perspective from it as a dad because he thinks differently than I do as a mom. And so we try to have that conversation to make sure that we are on the same page, but during the discipline moment, to try not to interfere.
So Jesus know my heart. I'm a work in progress. So just touch bases on what both of y'all said. Me and my husband, different parenting styles, but they meet up for the same thing. Now, when I say I'm a work in progress, I have a bad habit of being in the moments because I'm a moment type of girl. So Jeremy may say something, and I'm like, you could have said it better than that. All right. And sometimes Jeremy don't know his own voice projects, and I notice because when the tears start falling from both of them, I'm like, Jeremy, I know you didn't make my children cry. And Jeremy like, don't talk to me like that in front of the kids. And I'll be like, well, don't talk to them like that in front of me. But I'm learning, and as they get older, I know because kids can use that as a weapon and try to, manipulate the situation. So when I say I'm a work in progress, I know that I'm forming the situation where, Jeremy, I'm gonna talk to you later about it. But with the parenting style, I will say nothing. People talk to your kids. Talk to your kids. Yes. All right. Because I think a lot of kids become emotionally underdeveloped due to the fact that we, our parents, are not talking, and they do a lot of yelling and not a lot of communication. Like the communication is horrible, and that's something me and Jeremy, one thing we do have is good communication with our kids. Like you said, Cohen will be like, Courtney, she's still young, but Cohen will be like, I'd be like, okay, Cohen, you and your daddy got a movie night. And he'd be like, well, what, all four of us? And I'd be like, but I gotta watch Beyond the Gates. My soap opera. He'd be like, yeah, but we're a family. I'd be like, all right, let's watch it together. Yeah. But they want that, and I want them to grow up and be 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, still talking about we have to do this together. And in order to have that, we have to do it together. But like I said, you're right. Build the foundation of tradition. That goes back to what we were saying. But like I said, me and Jeremy, yes, it's different form of parenting styles. We could agree to disagree. Yes. Jeremy tells all the time, you baby them kids. I'm like, you don't realize you do the same thing too, Jeremy. I be catching you slipping.
So how I parent my kids differently. Paige is super smart. Always got all A's. She's super focused. Brad still gets A's and B's, but we do have the challenges with the impulse, with the ADHD, the hyperactivity, the emotional side of that. So just from the beginning, I knew that whether Brad had ADHD or not, they're two different people. Right. And so I always try to remind myself that they're two different people, they're two different kids, and I cannot parent them the same. And that's something I would always say to my mom, like, you parent boys differently. But it's not necessarily I think about the boy-girl thing. I just think that she had 4 kids that were totally different. Mm-hmm. And so now that I have my own, I'm able to see that I have two kids, they're totally different, and the way I even discipline them doesn't work for each one of them. You know, with Brad, it's more attention, it's more calmness because of the impulse of the dopamine that they say that they get from going back and forth. And then, so for me as a parent, I try not to worry what others may think or see how I manage my kid, because there are moments out, it may be at a baseball game, and he gets so disappointed in himself that he'll want to just stop, because it's more so he feels like I let everybody else down. Right. And so then it's a talking thing. Or I don't want to do it anymore because his feelings are hurt. And so it's talking through that and letting him know, no, that's not the case because he's so emotional. Or even Paige not getting a grade. You know, they do different tests, and in middle school they show you more. Even though she got an A at the end, but to get her first bad grade on a test that she eventually, you know, made it up and got the A, it was hard for her because she was like, that ain't me.
Yeah.
What is this?
Yeah.
You know, and I did go to the school and I did check my child out because she needed that mental health moment. Okay? Because that has something that she had never experienced. And when she got in that car, one thing I tell my kids is, you know, it's okay. So let's figure out how we can do better.
Right.
I never place on my kids they have to have all A's and all of that. I just want you to did you do your best? Mm-hmm. She knew she didn't do her best. So next week when the test come up, do your best. And of course the grade changed. Yeah. But that's more of my focus, doing your best. All that doesn't matter. But it is a difference. Dealing is more not stressful, it is more challenging, it's more patience when you have a child that has a superpower of ADHD or autism or dyslexia or whatever it may be, because now we have to think differently on how we can help them, because we still want the basics, which is them to be successful, productive citizens, right?
Right. All right, break. Brandon called 6 times. He called 6 times.
His daddy at home.
6 times.
His daddy is at home.
He got the call page.
Okay.
I think for me, parenting a neurodivergent child is initially it was like it was confusing because I expected, you know, when we're first time moms and you have your first kid, and once you get the ropes of it and you see their personality and what kind of child they are, you just kind of think that the next one will be the same way. Mm-hmm. And I just, you know, assumed that, oh, well, they would have the same milestones. They would hit this point at the same time. They would, because Jackson did it. So he'll, you know, I just had that blueprint of the first child for the second one. And when he didn't do things the same, and then I'm like, okay, well, what's wrong? Something's wrong, you know? And initially I looked at it as, I don't know how to do this. I don't know. I don't even know what this is, you know, like, I don't know how to, I was afraid, like, not for him, but for me, because I was like, okay, as a mom, I just don't know what to do. I don't want to do the wrong thing. I don't want to not do nothing. I don't want to overdo something. What do I do here? And just like my husband really, I know it probably sounds cliche, but it makes everything better because I tend to overthink. And he was like, we're gonna, whatever it takes, we're gonna do it. It's gonna be okay. Don't overreact, don't underreact, you know, we're gonna get it done. And when he started being verbal, I'm like, okay, we're making progress. And then he was like, so we realized like he's so smart, like kind of genius level smart. I mean, he was, when he started talking, he's like, we'll be riding down the street. He's like, oh, look at that excavator. And we're like, what? You know?
He was just holding it in.
Yeah, like, oh, that's a backhoe. That's a, like, he would see different dinosaurs. And I mean, when I tell you, I'm not teaching him this stuff. Like, I don't know one dinosaur from the next. I'm still saying Daddy Longneck about one of the dinosaurs from the Land Before Time movie. And he's like, oh, there's a Stegosaurus, there's a pterodactyl. You know, he knows all. And I'm like, where is this kid getting this stuff from? And we realized, like, he is so smart. And it's not that I think that some people get it confused, like, oh, neurodivergent kids are off, or they're slow, or they're, like there's something wrong with him. And it's not. I tell Jamie all the time, like, you have a superpower because he sees the world differently.
Yes.
They see things differently. They take things in differently. They react to things differently. And just viewing the world from his eyes has been a really remarkable experience. We get to, they're always researching something and
Yes.
telling you about something they found. And I'm like, normal kids, you gotta tell them, go in there and do your project, go in there and do research, go think about what you wanna, go look into it, look up the answers, figure it out. And they're always, they're just full of, I don't want to say useless information, but they're always just full of some random information that they have looked into. So I think for me, it was difficult in the beginning because I needed to understand him better and understand how to help him better. But now that we know his personality and how he works and what works for him and how to help him through, like educationally and socially, because social was a challenge for him before.
So did him being neurodivergent, how did it affect your parent style? Like, did you have to slack off on some things? Did you have to turn up the notch on other things?
Even starting out, he didn't have I didn't have the same parenting style with him that I had
with Jackson regard.
Jackson.
Okay.
Even began because Jackson's always been like so outgoing, and he was above the curve too. Like, he was crawling before he was time, and he was I think he just crawled like maybe like 2 days, and then he started walking. Like, he just was gone, off, like just shooting, above average. And when Jamie came, it was like, oh, this is different. So I didn't know how, I guess, to parent. And I had, I was like 23 so I didn't really know how. But once, as he got older, like even now, they both get the same basic rules and structure, but depending on what they do or where they fall short, I deal with it differently. So I address each of them tailored to their personalities and who they are.
Yes.
One of them needs to be talked to more sternly for him to know that you're serious, and the other one, you can tell him, with a soft voice, but with a straight face, and he knows like it's time for business. So they just, they're just different.
All right, so before we wrap it up real quick, all right, based off you guys' parenting styles, right? What is something you guys hope that your child values the most when they get older?
I would say that they can always come and talk to me and Paul about anything. That is something I really push, that you can tell us anything. If you're in a situation and you need me, call me. I'm coming. We can talk about it the next day. But I'd rather you be safe to call me. So I want them to know that no matter what happens in life, that I can always go to my parents and talk to me, and they will help guide me in the best way that they know how.
I think for me, what I would want my boys to hold on to from my parenting anyway, or from what I try to instill in them through parenting, is knowing that you can always come home. No matter what is going on in your life, you can always come home, and to value tradition. So we try to set up certain things with them. I know my mom had traditions of every holiday she would spend with us. She was decorating. She was, like cooking. We were going to celebrate every holiday like what you saw on TV. Because in our communities, especially when we're younger, it's like we don't always get that. And so she wanted to make sure that we had that, and I want to pass that on to my kids. So I want them to always value tradition, like with their family, and I want them to always know that they can come home.
All right, so to the viewers, which eventually one day my kids will be viewers and you guys are going to see this. One thing I hope you guys remember, baby girl and baby boy, that I would love to value as you get older, is that everything I've done and everything I'm going to ever do will always be out of love. All right? And just because you're 18 doesn't mean that I'm going to stop being your mom, right? You're going to always be my kid. Right? So I want you to value love and the respect that I have for you guys. And I want you guys to take that into your household when it's time and teach your kids that, and just have the tradition live on. And hopefully this video circulates, and you can show your kids that one day that mama gave you that advice, right? But again, I want to thank our viewers for watching. It's been another successful episode, which is episode 2 of the newest podcast coming to a computer near you, right? Mom Rules. I'm Angel.
I'm Ray.
Forgot who she was.
And I'm Edith, and this is real, unmuted life experiences and stories. And we hope that you subscribe so you can know when we post again.
And share your thoughts with
Yes,
us. Please
yes, put in the
comment,
comments.
send us topics that you feel like you would like to discuss. And if anything that we've talked about here today has resonated with you guys, or you have more to input on what we have said or discussed, let us know.